Come on. Come on, camera. Okay. Right then. Move some things. Oh, crud. That's how this is going to start. You guys will have to let me know if my internet connection is strong enough for this. I think I'm good for today, but we'll find out. Not sure. Internet has been a little flaky today, so we'll see, but I think it might be strong enough. So, first off, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup work here on my desk. And then we'll get into this bad boy. Yeah, we're going to take off this stock. The cylinder needs realigning. There's just some general stuff. I'm going to be rewiring, putting in new motors. You guys will get to see some of the internals of this blaster, which are pretty wild. Has some pretty wild internals. Well, it will. Right, so this. Oh yeah, my solder gun needs help as well. We might look at that actually before we get too far into this. Alrighty. Is that too bright? Nah, that's great. Sweet. Right, so let's see. Am I right in thinking that these are screws? I am. Nice. So, one of these wires is longer than the other. What is that? Coat hanger? Not sure. Oh. Try this again. From over here. Come on. Break loose. Come on. Not break, but break loose. Notice that there's a definition there. Alright, come on. No. Come on. Man, that is in there tight. Let's try this. Is that 6 point? Too small. Okay. Gonna have to break a kit. Okay. Alright. There it is. Okay. So, I went to a war days ago, big Nerf war, and this little guy accompanied me, though not in its current form. It was set up as a sniper rifle, and that's still not enough. Okay, we'll go back to the other method. Anyway, and this thing accompanied me, and it saw some water. Not too uncommon for where I live. So, it's gonna get some work done to it, revolving around the water damage that may or may not be inside of it. We'll find out how bad it is. Okay, I finally broke it loose. All right. Come Which one of these is longer? Does it matter? It's probably this one. So what we're going to do, I'm going to actually make a shorter tip just so I can use this thing for a little while. And that'll be that. In a minute here, I'm going to announce that I am live on YouTube and put something out for my Nerf group so they can see. Alright. Man, this thing stinks. Copper or steel. Oh, it's these pliers. Get back up there. Okay. That bend is bent wrong. And I believe there we have it. Let's go ahead and throw these in. It's not a lot of tip, but a little bit. Move that this way and you can see how messy the other side of the table is. Imagine there's a special tool for this or whatever, but I don't have it. I probably don't need it. Snugging them down is probably all I need to do. I'm actually streaming off of my phone, which is new. I've never done that before. Let's see if we can get a good point on that. That's not too bad. Maybe get a closer point. I know if I go too far, it's not going to be good. Yeah, that's pretty close. I really don't want my solder beating up in here, because it'll do that if it's too close like it is right now. Yeah, that'll do. Alright, the solder gun's back, which means I can actually solder things properly, and I don't need this thing, which is really just not a very good soldering iron. It doesn't heat up enough to do what I'm doing. Okay, so now that this is working, again, probably, old soldering gun that's older than I am, and I'm going to be 19 next month. So, would not put it beyond this soldering iron to be over 20 years old. Would not put it beyond it in the slightest. And yes, I'm going to be that weird guy who solders on a glass table, because that's a brilliant idea. Don't worry, we won't do anything too hot. So, as long as I've got a little chunk of plastic, I think I'll be good. For the most part, the rest of this is trash. Especially the old wiring, if any of that's around, that definitely needs to be thrown away. I don't think it is. Okay, so at the last war that I went to, Foam Blast was in town, and I bought 2 Fang revamps. Get those a little closer. 2 Fang revamps. Yes. And a 2-amp switch from Foam Blast, all for a pretty good price. If they ever visit you personally in your area, definitely buy from them local. It is quite a bit cheaper than buying from their online store. That being said, if you can't get to their online store, or you can't get to them local, the online store is also not that bad. This is the wire that's actually in Cataclysm. It is very thick. This is from a lamp for like heating up, or not heating up, for shining light on workspaces. It's a shop light, I think is what it's called. And I've got some wire. I think there's a little bit of blue wire in here too. Spare screws, because one cannot have enough spare screws. I don't think I'm going to do anything with this. I'm actually just going to toss it. I was thinking about putting it on Cataclysm, but I don't think that's going to happen. I saved the hook off of a long shot, so that might come in handy. I don't know if we're going to use it. Barrel, Nerf barrel. Hang on to this stuff, because if you can get your hands on a pipe cutter, or if you have a pipe cutter, pipe cutters will cut Nerf barrel quite well. You risk cracking it, but if you're careful about it, you can get nice round cuts. There's a piece of cutoff, and you can just reuse this stuff. You can build your own barrels. There's all kinds of reasons for that. Use that. I'm going to go ahead and close this because I left it open. Like a silly person. I haven't a clue what that disc is made out of. Probably tempered steel. Looks funny. Looks like brass. We'll leave it right there. Okay. So, we're going to be wiring in those today. And yeah, looking good. I'd say we got the soldering gun back. Sweet. Interesting smell. I'm going to go ahead and open that window right now, because soldering and fumes and all that. And I guarantee I'm going to have a cat in here in about 2 seconds. Okay. So, because Cataclysm is a mixture of old N-Strike and newer N-Strike, not N-Strike Elite, there's a little bit of N-Strike Elite in there, but not much. Also, this needs realignment. This is the turning mechanism for the revolver, which we'll deal with that. But because Cataclysm is mostly old N-Strike, it takes a smaller screwdriver in the back half here and a larger screwdriver in the front half, it's bizarre, but it works. So all the Green Raven has basically N-Strike Elite screws in it, but it's because there was this weird transition in the early 2000s between these larger screws and these smaller screws. And then they eventually moved over to the flat screws, which not sure if I'm a fan of the flat screws yet or not. Got a stubborn screw. Come on. Out. Come on. I cannot recommend a magnet for Nerf stuff enough. They're very handy for stubborn screws that don't want to come out. Alright. Oh yeah, and I was going to get this off of here. This was a plexiglass stock that I cut, and it's just a cheap little thing to put on there so that Cataclysm would have a stock of some kind. Now I can build a better one. Of course, assuming I can get the old one off. So, go ahead and do that. I'll clean up this hot glue. Maybe Maybe not right at the moment. I think this is a little higher priority. So I'm going to grab a flat blade and pray to the dear Lord above that this does not shatter, because this is shattering plexiglass, and if it shatters, it will get dangerous because there will be shards of plexiglass everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully, very slowly, just keep putting pressure on and waiting for the hot glue to release. I'm not putting a whole bunch of pressure on here, just enough to get the hot glue to start releasing. And I can see it. You guys probably can't, but I can see the hot glue moving back. So that's good. Yeah, so I bought some shatter resistant acrylic, which plexiglass and acrylic are almost the same thing, if not the same thing, but it was what I could get for a decent price, so it's what I'll be using, and it's about the same thickness, so I may even wind up using some plexiglass in this. But basically the deal with plexiglass and acrylics apparently is they're strong going this way against the edge. They're really strong, but this way they're quite flexible. So there's that to keep in mind. So we've got bits and pieces of hot glue left over here, which I'm going to clean off with my screwdriver here. And there we go. Oh, ow. Okay, and then I'm going to take the last screw out of the stock, which is back here. Then we will get to the new stuff, the old stuff. Pardon if I keep looking at the camera and it's annoying you, I'm just looking for comments. So this is where you'll see Cataclysm has two different size screws. And honestly, it's not that bad. I just wish the screw ports were a little bigger on the rear half of the gun, because it would be a lot nicer using a larger screwdriver for this. I also wish I had a longer bit for my ratcheting screwdriver. That'd be wonderful is what that would be. Alright, and then one in here, or is it over there? Oh, neither. I think there is one down here that I put in. I haven't got very many screws in here because I knew I would be coming back to put in other things like Fang revamps. But right now, that might sound like it's a lot, but it's actually just the stock wheels. It's also doing that. So we're going to fix that by replacing the switch. Okay, so Cataclysm is held together by mostly hot glue right now. It has these plates in here that will eventually be what holds the thing together. But as of right now, I have not done anything with the plates. Okay, so these are supposedly 130 motors. I've heard that they're 132s. And if they're 132s, I'm going to have a problem. But if they're 130s, we should be okay. And 132s might fit in here. We'll find out. Okay, so take these off. And this is basically Cataclysm's wiring. It's not a lot to it. Heat this thing up. It's direct. I don't use resistors. I don't use any of that. Though pretty soon there may be some resistors added into this mix for the motors when I convert this thing to LiPo, because eventually it's going to be LiPo. So can't recommend pliers like these when soldering enough for picking up things that are really hot. Oh, I missed the solder gun. I did this with the iron and I was not happy about it the whole way through. The gun is just, I touch the solder and it melts, and that's that. But with my iron, I have to like grind it away in order to get it to melt. Yeah, I don't like that. Now we're gonna find out if these 130s are actually 130s. So pull this guy out. In fact, I'm gonna use my pliers for it. I'm pretty sure I blew one of these motors, though it doesn't sound like it's bad right now. So I don't know what that's all about. So these motors may be salvageable. Oh yeah. If I want those out, I'm going to have to take the cage apart and pop the flywheels off. Now, I'm planning on running stock cage and stock wheels for a while. I will not be using anything fancy because this is my first LiPo build, and LiPos are kind of spendy on my budget. There are some Nerfers who would say, oh, LiPos aren't that expensive, but I have to buy a charger as well. And I have to admit, I agree with them now. Back in the day, when people first started converting to LiPo, I would not have agreed with them because LiPos were definitely more expensive back in the day than they are now. You can get a decent LiPo for about $20, which it's not too bad when you consider what kind of power you're buying. And it's lithium polymer, and lithium polymer is not mass produced so much anymore. I mean, it's still there, it's just not mass produced so much. So one of the things that's going to change in the wiring circuit this here is these wires are going to actually be, one, twisted together, and two, soldered on here properly. And that was, again, mostly because I did not have my soldering gun. And the reason this gun is so good is because it's designed to actually work with larger wire, lots larger wire, like wires in my walls here. So that's one of the reasons I like it, is so big. Okay, so we're going to pull that out. That's my barrel. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's Cataclysm's barrel. It is actually 2 Nerf barrels hot glued together and done very, very, very carefully. So there you go. One of the comments that I got about this last Sunday was that I aligned the barrels very nicely because I have hardly any barrel drag in this thing at all on the stock Raven wheels. And these aren't Elite Raven motors and wheels. These are the original Raven motors and wheels. These are, yeah. Yeah, and I think these wheels will get cleaned up a bit. Probably, because they look a little rough. Some sort of rubber residue on them or something. So let's see here. If you've never taken a flywheel cage apart before, they usually have these annoying little plastic clips, and they push in or out sometimes, or both. I've seen them both with both. Usually you take your screws out and then you have to come in here and push in the clips, and yeah, this one I shouldn't have. Yeah, okay, and then they separate like that, and you don't want to lose your parts ever. And then flywheels, my best method I've found is just grabbing a screwdriver and putting it on its side and prying until they just slide off the motors. Sometimes it's a lot of work, sometimes it's not so much. Sometimes you break a wheel in half if you're not careful. You just kind of work at it until they pop off. I have broken a wheel in half before doing it this way, so maybe not the best method. Sometimes if you come at it from the side over here, it pops off a little easier. So we'll clean those up. These tap these out of here. They're not in here very tight, but that's a standard Nerf motor with a whole bunch of solder on the side. Ooh, too bright. See if that works. Yep, standard Nerf motor there. Not very good. I can actually spin that with my hand. The Foam Blast Fang motors require a lot of work to get it to even click once. Ah, yes, a Nerf herder in its natural habitat. It is indeed. So, you missed out, Jerry. You missed out. Foam Blast was there last Sunday. Fang motors, bought them for $13. And a switch. They were having a sale on 2-amp switches. Yeah, so we're going to take that switch out as well, but not right at the moment. Right now, we're curious about whether or not these are actually 132s, and also whether or not they're supposed to go this way or the other way. I don't know. Let's see here. Ooh, boy, that's tight. I don't like that. That is really tight in that. I don't like how tight that is. I mean, I do, but I don't at the same time. I want to find out what direction these spin in first. So we're going to find out the not-so-safe way. So here I need a wheel, flywheel, and a Sharpie. Let's see here. There's my Sharpie. Okay. Can't recommend a silver Sharpie enough. Mr. Nathan got me onto this, and I love it. It is great for just about everything when it comes to Nerf, because it works well on dark colored plastics and light colored plastics. And so, yeah, silver Sharpies for the win. Right, so I'm assuming the red mark is positive, because there's a little red mark on the back of my motors here. I'm assuming it's positive. It's not very clearly marked. So it's worth mentioning. So we're going to find out. And I don't think that lead is long enough. So we're going to find out this way. Right, so I'm expecting this thing to spin, so I should hang on to it tight. We're going to find out which direction does this spin. And arcs and sparks. Wow, I'm surprised that even turned over on alkalines. Okay, so it was spinning this way. This way. So the Foam Blast logo goes up. The name of the motor goes down. All right. And that was with positive on the, what was that, left? Yeah. If it's a problem, I'll just switch the wires around. It's not that big of a deal. But, holy cow, are these tight. Like, there's a possibility of cracking the cage. These are so tight. And there's neodymium magnets in here, which I gotta say I'm a big fan of neodymiums. Man. Come on. Go in there. Using pliers. Wow, it's in there tight. I'm not sure, but I don't have to sand this out first. Really don't know. Okay, there we go. Wow. These things are not coming out anytime soon. That's what they're doing. I mean, they were pretty easy to get in there. I don't know if that's all the way in or not, but it's pretty darn close. Alright, so we're going to find out now which direction that spins. So this should be the wrong direction. It should spin away from this end, hopefully. and it was spinning this way, which is actually the correct direction. Yeah. Okay, so I was right. That red dot is in fact the positive mark. So I guess the positives are just going to be on the outside now, and I'll just rewire it. I mean, I'll probably have to rewire it anyway. XT60s are going to go into this thing eventually, and it will eventually have a LiPo, so it'll probably see another rewire in the future. Plus, this wire's, I don't know if the wire is good or not, because it was outside a lot, and there was water, and I regret having it outside, but by the time I could have regretted it, it was already waterlogged, and I'm kind of surprised it dried out. Definitely something going on with the switch here, and I'm glad that I have the 2 amp switch to replace it. Am I going to put a switch plate in here? No, not going to do it. I have hot glue. That's all I've ever needed in the past, and it's all I will ever need in the future. Hot glue is one of the greatest creations of man. Not the Taj Mahal, not the pyramids. Hot glue. Yeah. I'm crazy. You don't need to put it in the comments. Oh boy, I just bent a tab over. That's not good. I mean, it's fine, but I didn't mean to do it. I don't want to bend the tabs over. Alright, I'm going to try this way. I'm struggling to get enough pressure. Oop, that was my door closing by itself. It does that. Struggling to get enough pressure into this thing to actually get it to go down. Come on. Man, it's tight. Very tight. I'm sure you can see that. Try wiggling it in, maybe. Try this method again. That's kind of seemed to work for the other one. I feel like maybe these aren't big enough. Come on. Come on. Oh. Straighten it out. Get in there. It does not want to go in. Okay. Try this. Now I'm starting to wonder if I shouldn't have put had somebody print me out a better cage or something with how tight these are. Jeez. Like I'm wanting a vise here, actually. Push these things in there. Man. I'll try and wire these in there better than I did with the other motors too, but oh, I see, it's a little canted to the left. Just a little. If you guys are commenting, I actually can't see it, so hang on a second. See if I can bring it up. Live chat, all messages are visible. There we go. Dentist Dremel, you say? It does kind of sound like a dentist Dremel. And keep in mind, this is only like 6 volts. These things are designed for a lot more. So, I'll run them again. Got a little out of control there. Holy cow! That's a rev up. That's just stock. This is just stock voltage, and it's already so much better. Holy cow. That is not what I was expecting in the slightest. Wow. Okay. I've never had modded motors, modders motors like this before, so this is really something else for me. The closest thing I've ever had to this was stock motors running at 7.5 volts. Come on. I'm getting it. It's not wanting to go in there, but I'm getting it. It's mostly in there. Liking this whole stream off my phone thing. It seems to be working pretty well. It's not too laggy, is it, out there, Jerry? Since I know you're the only one in here. Get it. That might just be the closest I can get it. Because it certainly does not want to go in any further. If you shoot your teeth out, you can pull the motor out of the gun and use that. Let's see here. It should just show it all the time. Why is it not showing it all of the time? Chat viewing options. Okay. Live chat, all messages are visible. Ah, there we go. Alright, so no stream lag. Nice. Today's a nice day for this, so. Okay, so I think that is about the best I can do as far as actually getting these motors and everything in here together properly. We're going to find out if we have any flywheel misalignment here. Keep in mind the cage is not screwed together, but I think I already see some issues with this bottom wheel. So, yeah, the bottom wheel's out for sure. Top wheel seems to be okay. Come on. Spin. Spin. I command you, spin. I don't know why that one's not spinning. Well, actually I do. It's probably because I don't have contacts here. There we go. Contact on both of these. I don't know if I'll be online later. I think I'll be doing this for a little while. Six volts. This is stock voltage is running like this. Yeah, that's definitely out of alignment. I'm shocked, but not literally, because, you know, that's a possibility. But I am shocked. I was not expecting this out of stock voltage. Now, what will likely happen is I'll likely chew through alkaline batteries like crazy. And, you know, that'll probably be the problem here on Fangs. This wheel's a little canted. I don't think that wheel's down far enough either. Let's see if I can get this guy out. There we go. Now it's even. So we should see no nothing here. Yeah, it's still grinding on something. What's it grinding on? I can feel it. How about this one? Yeah, that's a lot better. Twist this back into place. Well, I think a message might need to go out now to the Nerf group. Can I send a link? Share. Yeah, share through. Or do I have Facebook? Do I? Just copy? Yeah, copy. All right, 1 second. Okay, so what is this wheel grinding on? Is it that one? Not that one. Ooh. Yeah, that one's definitely not spinning the speed it should be. What's up with this? Why are we not spinning at top speed? The other one spins so much faster. What's going on? Not sure if it's my batteries or if it's a wheel. I think it's batteries at this point. I really do. All right, so do I clean off my? Yeah, I'll clean off the wheels. I'm feeling in a generous mood. We'll clean off the wheels. And then it'll go back together and I'll do a better job on my wiring and I'll sort out that switch, which is currently stuck in the on position. Alright, so cleaning wheels isn't actually all too difficult. Grab something flat, run it along the edge, you're good. If you've never seen it done before. This is mostly just foam, actually. We'll have some fun stuff going on here in a minute. Soldering. As soon as I'm done with the flywheel cage. That's better. Good enough for me. Just took that bad boy in there. It's very bad. That's why it's in a cage. And I think I got a little plastic on that one. These wheels are not flat all the way across. Interesting. If you guys comment, I will do my best to reply. I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to see it because I tend to get wrapped into things, especially when working on something like this. There we go. Those will get dirty in a matter of seconds anyway, but there we go. Alright, and let's clip this together and screw it in, and I think we're good. This cage might have some issues, but let's see here. Let's see if I can get that button stuck again. Alright. Check the speed on these. Okay. Just grab a flat blade. That'll work. Alright, how's this? Okay, pretty good rev. How about this one? Yeah, that's not right. Yeah, that's stopping way too soon. Where's all that coming from? Right. Oh, that's definitely grinding. What is that grinding on? Is that the motor shaft grinding? Is that what it is? Feels about right. Might be that motor isn't in there all the way. Fun Blast, I hope you're not watching this. If you are, you would be very upset about how I'm putting these motors in. I think I might have a little bit of cant going on here. Maybe. Put this back together and see if we get the same issue. It was definitely something weird was going on with this cage before I put these motors in. And it's possible I have a bad cage here. But maybe not. Yeah, that motor is definitely not being driven right. Something's up. Yeah, something is holding that wheel. Right, we're gonna find out if that's the wheel or perhaps I got a bad motor. I mean, it's not impossible. Oh, for one, it's tilted in a little bit. Nope. Let's not drop that. Alright, let's find out if it spins up like it's supposed to now. Need that. Right there. Right there. There we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's the way I've got it in there. Something about that's not sitting right. Perhaps I have it a little close. Let's try that. That sounds better. That's better. All right. Put the cage lid on. How about now? Same issue? Okay. All right, we're good. So, yeah. Okay, so cage is relined. Sweet. Now we got to deal with the motor. Ooh, wrong screwdriver. Right screwdriver. Not the motor. Switch. Silver screws in all this. Yeah. Let's get that switch out of there. Now, I'll have to look up how people normally do this as far as the switch location. But honestly, even if I didn't, I think I could probably figure it out. Come on. Melt. There we go. I just did this stuff, what I did do on Cataclysm, just so that I could run it in the Sunday War. There we go. Yeah, I think the issue with this switch is something got inside of it when I was running around, and it's not decompressing properly. Yeah, that's probably the issue there. Okay. So, I also want to take the lock out for this thing. I want to have the trigger work. Like, I want to have the trigger activate the rev trigger. In fact, I might even, well, maybe not. I was thinking maybe I'll grab my switch here, 2-amp switch. Maybe I'll put it there and have it on. I was thinking maybe, but no, I think down here is better. Oh, and that just fits in there. That we're on like that. Cool. And what's stopping this from? It's that little knob right there, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so I'll just take that out. And that'll be that. Cool. I can totally just tack that in there like that. Yeah. Nice. And the other side of the shell, I'm guessing, yeah, the same. What if I were to, oops. I don't want to work on that anyway. What if I were to, make sure that we don't get any live connections here, accidentally create a fire. That would be very bad. That they can't touch, hopefully. Let's say that this switch were in here and that wire wasn't in the way. Will it actually close without me having to mess with any of it? Yep, totally closed just fine. Closed just fine, even with a wire on top of it. So I think we're good. Let's put those over there. Cool. So that's going to be the new switch. Like I said, eventually this will all be LiPo. Eventually. Right now it's not. Okay, so let's deal with this problem, which is that these wires are not wrapped well. Now, it might look like I've had this sitting on my shelf for a while because I've done way better wiring work in the past, but actually it's just I wanted to get it out quick, so I did rather sloppy wiring work instead of actually doing it right. In fact, I'm even going to heat this up and see if I can melt the solder on this a little bit, shape it better. Come on. There we go. And see if that works a little better. This is a thing too. Could totally do that. All right. Looks pretty good. Good as I can get it for now. All right. Yep. Okay. More messages? Nope. Just double checking. All right, so I'm not quite sure how these actually work. So, what can I do to test that? I'm not sure if it's the bottom leads or if it's top leads. Or bottom and top. So, oh, okay. So there's actually a little diagram on here, which I didn't quite understand at first, but I've got it now. So it would be this lead in here and this lead in here. But if you were to run it where it was open all the time, it would be one here and one there. Okay. One here, which this goes to the motor. Good. Oh, wait a second. This is open all the time. That's closed all. Okay, so one lead here for what I'm doing, one lead here and one lead there. So this is my motor lead then. See if I can get my wire to go through this hole. Or not. Come on, melt. Melt and go through the hole. There we go. Get somewhere now. Oh yeah, I wanted to do just, you know what? Let's just do this better in general. My wire strippers fell. Okay. Alright, let's trim that off. And twist it left-handed so it's uniform around the rest of the place. I'm ambidextrous, so I'm always twisting wires in different directions inside my blaster. Some of my wires twist left, some of them twist right. It all depends on what I was doing at the time and what I was holding. Kind of silly. Oh, not what I wanted. Okay. Let's see here. Where'd my switch go? Where did I put the switch? Okay, it was over here a minute ago. It's not in my lap. Did it roll? Did it? Well, it's flat. It couldn't have rolled, could it? How? How? I'm genuinely confused. Oh, it's over here. Okay, much better. These are clicky. If you haven't seen Foam Blast's videos on these switches, go watch them. They're fun. Okay, so this wire is twisted, but I'm actually going to untwist it because I realized I don't want it twisted for what I'm going to do. I'm going to break this apart into 3 different segments. I've known how to solder well for a long time. I just don't always do it, and I need to start doing it. So, break it into 3 segments of wire. And, come on, split. Split. Okay, fine, be that way. I'll just use that whole coil. There we go. And then twist the 3 segments of wire. Now, this is hard to do on smaller wire for sure. Definitely, this is for large wire, large coil wire, like this. I actually don't know the gauge of this wire. So I would give that information to you if I had it, but I don't. Alright, so you then put one wire through, like so. Go grab your solder because it's across the room. Wire in, bend it like something like that. I think. Yep. Okay. One wire in. You solder it in just like that. One of the three that you put in there. We're going to actually indirectly heat this, which may not be a good idea on the switch, but it should be okay. Come on. Please tell me this switch will handle indirect heat. Come on. Doesn't like it. Heat it up a bit faster. Well, we will just use this side then, because I'm afraid of taking the contact right out of the thing, so I'm not gonna do that. I've done that before with LEDs, taking the contacts right out of what I was soldering to. Okay. Put these over here. Where are my pliers? I'm always doing this. Pliers, pliers, pliers. Here we go. I may need forceps for this, which are basically smaller pliers. I should zoom in on this so you guys can really see what I'm doing. For those who are wanting to learn. Those who aren't wanting to learn, well, this is just interesting to watch. Lovely. Don't know how long it hasn't been filming, but sorry about that. Can I zoom in? I can do that. It's not going to be amazing. Here you go. Try and get it in shot. So I folded over the wire onto the side pointing towards the camera. Probably can't really see it. And now I'm going to add more solder to the other side. It's actually good that I've made this point smaller on my iron, because it definitely would not have worked with the point that it was on there. We're going to try, mind you, is the word, to heat up the solder in place. There we go. Now, the other two leads, wrap around and twist. I believe that's the method anyway. Which I did not make this long enough for this lead. So we'll just do wrap around. And then solder, because solder is good. And this is the better way to solder. Well, not exactly. it's a better way to solder that I've been meaning to do for a long time. And then, what I usually do, because I'm cheapskate and I don't have shrink wrap, heat shrink, excuse me, I have shrink wrap. Then if I'm worried about arcing or whatever, I will usually cover that in a blob of hot glue, because hot glue is non-conductive, and that is really useful information to know. Okay, so we're gonna lop off the end of that with my wire cutters that are over here. Okay, now I've sprayed dust of copper everywhere. Take that, split it apart to different segments. 1, 2, 3 segments. I might have watched a little too much Sesame Street. Just maybe. Ooh, look, we've been going for an hour. How about that? Half of it was me fixing the soldering gun. Alright, so now that you've created your own little Sith lightsaber out of your wire, you can solder it onto the other contact. So I'm just gonna test real quick that I have this right, that I've read this diagram correctly, because wiring diagrams are not my strong suit. I just want to double check. So flywheel cage, flywheels, open and exposed flywheels. I'm gonna redo the connections up here too. So we should see, attach these, we should see, and that's what we're looking for. Movement. I was grabbing a dart post when I was doing that, so it wasn't spinning correctly. Let's screw this together. Ooh. Neodymium magnets, holy cow. It's actually what I use for my Nerf magnet, is neodymium. And I call it a Nerf magnet because I use it for holding screws. That's all it does. It holds screws, and it does it really well. And it also helps loosen those pesky screws that like to stay stuck in the blaster. You know, those ones. So we're just going to go ahead and put that in there. All right, so now I'm going to actually drop my wire snippers here. Yes? Come on in.
Are you talking to someone?
I am doing a live stream for once.
Oh.
That's fine. Oh, hello. Hello, one person. I am wiring a switch in. 2 amp switch. Excited when I get my hands on a 5 amp switch. Let's see who we got. Ah, hiya, Jerry. I am, like I said, wiring. Doing some wiring. Got myself a Sith lightsaber out of copper here. You want to see it fire? I was messing around with the motors earlier, and it surprised me. Oh, yeah, you were in here for that. Okay. Never mind. Never mind. All right, so I'm not going to be able to solder the back of that for sure. So I'm just going to focus on soldering the top, which should be interesting. So I'm going to actually twist that like that. I hope I'm getting half of what I'm doing on camera. Probably should have put it on the left. I know you have never seen soldering done like this. I have never soldered like this, though I know how. Just need to do it more often. Normally my soldering is less permanent because I'm working on stuff or whatever. So we're going to try indirect again, though we're going to do it through the wire and not the switch. Come on. You can do it. Don't melt the copper, melt the solder on the other side. So, yeah, okay, we're just going to go for this. We'll go direct again. So, if these were attached, which they aren't, but we can pretend that they are for a second, we would see a little bit of rev. Okay, a lot of rev. I really wonder how long my alkalines are going to last on that. So, not quite done with the actual soldering portion down here, but closer than it was. And then we grab this. I'm trying to bend it underneath. I really should grab forceps. One moment. Always. Good. Work. Where are my good forceps? Ah, here they are. Nerfer's best friend. Phone's dying. Nerfer's best friend. Never leave home without them. Of course, I do it all the time. Don't lead by example. My phone requires power, so I shall plug it in. Okay, move that down there. You may be able to see that through my table. Me moving stuff. Plug that in. And it's too short. Of course it's too short. It's always too short. Why would it ever be the perfect height? Or length? Okay, drop this down on the floor and then raise feet. Aha, and now you can actually see what I'm doing. I don't have to have it in. Tuned in again. How's that? That's looking better. Ah, that's loads better. Okay, now I can actually charge the phone. And it's bottom here and Alright, ready to continue. As I was saying, Nerfer's best friend. Soda? Is that Strang or soda? This is solder. A big huge spool of solder. Here. Camera's more on that side. Alright, so I'm actually grabbing this copper wire here. I'm trying to pull it underneath. Like so. Man, these are just not quite thin enough. Even these. Grab this. I'd like to point out that I'm working with only the positive side of this circuit and not the negative side. So it's totally safe to connect these. Nothing's going to happen. It's important to do it this way and not have your switch be the point where you connect things and have it be at the motors. It's very important that you do it this way because one, the motors won't work, and two, if you do it the way I just described and have everything connected to the switch, it's easier to fry the switch and electrocute yourself when you work, amongst other things. Okay, so now, double check these. Soda, or is that strange? Oh, you want to fill a pool with coffee or soda. Oh, I didn't see that. I don't know. I don't think too many people would disagree. I think some people would question it, and then you would say, hey, want to jump in? And they'd say, sure. But there you go. Let's see here. Hope you can see that well enough. Come on. There it goes. I have missed my soldering gun. Oh, this is so nice. Sorry, I missed that. Okay. Now I'm going to do the back side here. And there we go. Come on. Heat up the solder. There it goes. Not on the plastic. Yes, that smoke is toxic. Before you ask, yes. Okay. Which is why I have a window open. Always work in well-ventilated spaces when soldering. At least as well ventilated as you can. So, is it a good solder job? Not really. Is it good enough for this? Probably. So, as I already found out, this will actually fit. I'll move my wires back to roughly where they were. Just right there. This will actually fit right here. Like that. Really well. And if I angle that in a little bit more, maybe more, maybe it was up here. Can actually, well, I had this working. Or maybe it was with it back there. Oh, that can't be right. Had this working. Oh, I know why. That's because this wasn't in here. So now that I have taken out that switch entirely, the old switch, I might have to get OBS or something like that on my phone just for doing this. Smoke. I am allergic to it. I'm allergic to a lot of stuff. Hey! Go back in there. Go back in there, you. Pretty sure you're supposed to take this off with the trigger off, but whatever. This is close enough, right? Yeah. And close enough always works. Come on. Go back in there. I'm actually kind of curious what Bobololo's trigger system would be like inside of a Raven. And I imagine I'm not the only one who is curious. Jose probably is curious too. Just throwing the name out there. Not that anybody on my channel would, well, most anybody wouldn't know who that is on my channel. Let's see here. How about that way? Is that it? Going that way? No. It's gotta be like what, this way? That doesn't make any sense. This is supposed to cover up that switch right there. It's gotta be this. But it doesn't want anything with that. Unless it's, no, it's not upside down. Oh, unless it's supposed to go under like that. Away from phone AFP. I like that. Okay. So when I had that panel on earlier, I was actually test fitting this in place and discovered that there was room for this to just be here. Now that may have to get lopped off, and that is not a serious crime by my standards. So, a lopped off it shall be. These are tin snips. Just to clarify. I use tin snips because tin snips are awesome. And everyone should own a pair, unless they are 3. In which case, why are you looking at buying tin snips? You're 3. You have other things to worry about. Okay. So the whole release mechanism for that is all done right there. So, I was looking at this, and I was thinking that this would fit right there, and I actually had it clicking. But I'm actually pretty confident that I could just take this bit out right here, if I can get these in here. Just that no longer exists, because I'm not planning on going back to the old switch. The old switches do not handle the current that this one does. So let's pretend that that goes there, and we have a working switch. It is very snappy. I know a lot of people would probably like that. The snappiness. Yeah, sits right about there. That's where we want it. And that way we have plenty of slack down here for those. In fact, it's a little too much slack. Okay. Hot glue gun time. Do hot glue gun time. Do hot glue gun time. Come on, everybody in the chat, say it with me. Do hot glue gun time. Hope you guys like this stream, because this is probably going to be the only thing I'll be doing for a little while, because I'm sure I'll have a bunch of work to do tomorrow. So you may not be seeing anything from me for a few days, maybe weeks. My next quarter in college is going to be really stressful. I'm going to be taking 15 credits again, and it's going to be a lot of work. Last time I took 15 credits, I was dealing with one subject so much, and it was such a problem for me that I wound up only studying for that subject, and I passed on my other two classes on pure skill. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do is, before I go and put that in permanently, wait for my hot glue gun to heat up. I'm going to trim these as well. These definitely need trimming, and I pulled the wire off and set it down over here somewhere from out of the circuit. Oh, here it is. This is going to be seeing some work. In fact, I may even just totally replace that line. Yep, and here's the wire right here. Super duper. That was totally wicked. I already checked that the shell would close with this switch in place, which is, I had to double check. Foam Blasts does mention these kinds of things on their YouTube channel when it comes to doing this stuff. I love that Foam Blast has a YouTube channel and that they do worry about their customers. I love that. That's probably why they're going to stay in business for so long. Have been in business for so long. I see them lasting a very long time in the Nerf community. And you know what? I may put a little bit of hot glue in there on these contacts. Maybe. I'll think about it. Yep. Okay, that's better. Try sticking this in here like that. Make sure that that is basically a hair trigger. That's right where I want it, right there. Here's what I'm going to do. Plop that baby down there. And what's going on here? Oh. It's dropped lower than it did last time. stick it right there. Boy, that's not a lot of space in there. I know Out of Darts has a plate for this, for doing this exact thing, but, you know, hot glue works. It really does. There's nothing wrong with hot glue. Perfect. Oops, I might have got the mechanism in some glue a little bit, but it looks like it's moving okay. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with hot glue. It works really well, and it makes a very nice, rubbery, sort of resistant glue. There's absolutely everything from mechanical. Mechanical is definitely the better way to go. But hot glue works. There's no doubt about that. It works. Maybe not, it may not be the best glue out there. It's definitely not the worst glue out there, and it's cheap. So, if it's what you got, it's what you got. And I've been using hot glue for years. And it works. It really works. There are some people who just totally bash hot glue, and I really can't support that. Really, really can't. Because, one, I've used it for so many years, and two, it's just hot glue is a very good gluing medium. It just is. Alright, so we're gonna look at these out here now. Let's take all of that off. Now, something you want to do when you're all done wiring, I'm a little early for this, but turn your blaster over and give it a little shake. Make sure any bits of wire or plastic or whatever are out of there. That's always something good to do. Had to grab juice. Did you get me one? Because I'd like a juice. You know, just run it right on over here. Yeah, run it over here. Okay, so I don't know if I can. There. I will set this up so at least a little better. So. Pull these motors out of here. Old garbage motors. Nobody uses stock anymore. Nobody. No, it's not true. I'm still using stock stuff. Stock motors and stuff. Okay. So, solder gun. I was working on this wire over here. Move that there. So you can see what I was doing. Solder gun over there. And start untwisting this. It's just the end of this. It's twisted up a little bit. We're all a little twisted in some way, aren't we? Yep. We're going to create another. Who said Star Wars was overrated? Who said that? No one said that. Because Kylo Ren's lightsaber is used in wiring. Alright, so where this is going to be super useful is in the motors, which is where we're at right now. I want to double check that I got this correct. That this is in fact positive. Well, I should say I'm triple checking that that is in fact positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my wire in through that hole, fold it over, grab the black, wire, which in my circuit is negative. I'm going to grab a dart. I'm going to find out if that's pulling the right direction or not. Okay. And I have some sort of dart on hand. So we're going to have that there, and okay, so I'm going to stick a dart in. If it flings backwards, it's backwards. If it flings forward, it's correct. So we're just going to go ahead and it's in the wheels. So here we go. These are really torquey motors, and yet they don't have what it takes to just push a dart in. Okay. That might actually be backwards. Maybe. I can't really tell. Need like a third hand. Let's try this. Yep. Okay, so the red marks the negative. Ooh. That wore down the head a little bit on that dart. Okay. You wanted to see it fire, Jerry. I'll fire off one flywheel here in a minute. Okay, let's flip that back over to the way that it was. So good. This is in here correct for what I have in here. Wire, at least. And there we go. That's fed through. Put this in here. Like so. This'll do. Yeah, it launched that dart off one flywheel. Cool. One flywheel. Nice. Should I put a safety switch in this thing? No. At the same time, maybe not. My safety switch will be removing the battery. I thought about buying 2 switches from Foam Blast, one for on-off switch and one for rev for wheels, but I decided against it. Okay, so we're going to again take the Kylo Ren lightsaber and we'll use that. A couple more. Hope this is visible enough. Good. I hope. Lefty. See, this is what I mean about I twist my wires in all different directions. And there we go. So I'm not actually going to do anything more than that for now because I want to do the leads over to the top motors first. Now Nerf, in their infinite wisdom, decided in this gun, when it's stock, to run leads from the batteries up to the top motor and then back down. I don't know why they decided that that was the best course of action when wiring this blaster, and I imagine the elites are the same way, but they did, and that's the way this one was anyway, if I remember right. And the way I wire this is I wire it up to the bottom motor and then jump to the top motor. Because it makes a whole lot more sense. Saves on a lot of wire. It's just a better decision all around. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this wire here. Let's see here. Which side was I working on? It was this side. Clip. Now, my gun has gotten a lot since back in these days. This is an old gun. Goodness, when did this gun come out? I don't remember. It's pretty elite, so 2014. Probably 2010, maybe? Maybe? I don't remember. Anyway. So, I pretty much am positive that this is positive. Don't mind my electrical pun. That was actually unintended. Who are learning how to do this stuff are watching, because this is important what I'm doing here. I'm putting the wire in this side first. Setting up for this side first. In fact, you know what? I'm going to back that wire up a little bit and then fold it over, and you'll see why later. Okay, I'm doing that side first. Then I'm calculating for how much wire I'll need over here. I'm actually going to cut out here. I'm going to be sure and do it away from that wire. But I'm going to cut out there for the end of that lead. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did over there. Now the reason I did this is because flywheels need to have slack in these lines. Otherwise, when they start vibrating really hard like these ones do, they will sometimes knock these connections loose. And so by having extra slack in these lines, you ensure that when they do start vibrating, they just tug on the wires and do not knock your connections loose. So, there. Oh, not quite. And I learned that one from Bobololo. If you're not familiar with him, go find his YouTube channel. And it actually is pronounced Bobololo, believe it or not. Spelled exactly as you would think to spell it. Link up, except that I'm not using a desktop top or anything like that right now. So. He's, for those of you who are interested, he's on the eastern side of the U.S. I am on the western side. And there are a few popular YouTubers over here on the western side as well. But I am mentioning he's over on the eastern side just because that, well, he's over kind of in Drax area, kind of. I think he's maybe a state or two over. So it's a different kind of atmosphere over there than it is over here. Some of the mods are the same. Some of the mods are a little crazier than over here. It's really, there isn't too much different between the East Coast and the West Coast, but it's they do different stuff than us. They definitely do different game types, from what I see. I mean, this is going off of what YouTube videos I've seen. What few. Okay, maybe it's not that few, but. Okay, so grab this wire. These two are actually going to become one wire. That's what we're going to do. Alright, so these are now the same wire. We're going to just thread that back through. Hopefully. It may be too big now. Yeah, it's a bit too big now. We're just gonna... what are we gonna do about that? I was hoping that I could put one side through one way and one side through the other, but I think what we'll do is we'll put half of it through and then tie the other half in. In fact, I'm going to split these wires up again. This is all good. It's good to test fit everything where you can. I don't always do that, and I need to do that more often. That's kind of what's made this gun such a success, is that I've been doing so much test fitting. And it's turned out good because of that. Oops, that was going left. At least I think that's left. Might be right. I don't know. Okay, we'll try this again. There we go. There we go. That's better. It's not amazing. Try this again. No, you go through there. Not most of you. There we go. All of it. Go through that hole. I see that. Almost like threading a needle here. Alright, that'll do. We'll just go with what we got. Which was not a lot, but it's better than nothing. Alright, so then I'm just going to grab this, retwist, and these two are now going to become one wire. And we'll just go with that. In fact, what I might... Okay, so I hope that I've got this shot good enough for you. There we go. Try focusing on that, if at all possible. Let me get my phone to focus on that. Come on, refocus. No? Alright, well, blurry we'll just have to do. What I'm going to do is this wire here. Okay? I'm going to wrap the top prong of this wire over the top prong of the other wire. And then I'm going to twist the first wire around a few times while the other wire is still there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So they're around each other, but it'll be like that. There'll be a sort of crisscross thing. And this will create a really tight connection. Maybe. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll actually just clip them together because it's such a tight space. You really can't twist it. And clip it like that. Because that works. Okay. And then from here, boy, these wires have all gotten so all over the place. This is wiring 101 right here. Just expect them to go everywhere. Because, oh, crud. Because they will. Okay. Hold off my knee. Okay. Try this again. This time we're going to do it better. And you can hear the very little road traffic that I get right there. And okay, grab this wire, bring it down over here. Twist times, like so. Keep it twisting. Keep it twisting. Try not to prick yourself in the finger with a little piece of copper. Alright, then these two wrap around. But this has to come in here too. So, maybe I'll pretend like this is actually a lead, and we'll go like this. And then this. And then, yeah, that's kind of, that works. I'm going to twist all those together. And honestly, this is just a lot of copper is what this is. Because these are all copper lines. It's kind of awesome, actually, that Cataclysm gets to have really nice wiring in it. Because normally, I don't get the opportunity to just put nice wire in something like this. It's just whatever I have. Because I don't buy wire. I scavenge wire. Wire like this is expensive. Man, this would be like 20 bucks for 6 feet. All right. Just hoping that I got all that done right. It's, honestly, that's a lot of wire. And that may see a hot glue lead, or hot glue bead on it, but there we go. A lot of work for not a lot of progress. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. Doop-a-doop. And we're going to twist these together. Tight as I can. And that should be the positive lead pretty well put together. What would you fill a pool with? You can't say water. What would I fill a pool with? That is a good question. What would I fill a pool with? It can't be water. Has to be something else. You know, somebody's probably already done this, but I would love to see Out of Darts proton rounds fill a pool. I really want to see that. Somebody with a lot of money, please invest a bunch of money into a Out of Darts somewhere. That would be awesome. Plus, it would support Luke, who I actually know. It's really cool to know the cool YouTubers. I can't explain that enough, how cool it is to know the cool YouTubers. I've actually met Luke in person, and we're fairly good friends. He mostly does Rival, but he occasionally shows interest in my work. I do whatever's most common on the field because I don't like having to use a specific ammo type. Of course, when Luke shows up, the Rival is what is common on the field. Because he shows up with a Hurricane or whatever, and it's just like, oh, look, there's now 5,000 rounds of Rival on the ground. I think I'm good to run Rival. That's pretty much how it goes with him. He likes Rival. Can't blame him. Can't blame him. All right. Yeah, we're going to go for the twist over here again. I could probably cut these leads a bit on the end here. And they're also where I'm getting all my leverage from to twist. Okay. In fact, I'm going to try cutting. You know what? No, I'm going to solder these first, and then I'm going to cut the leads. Because that's actually the way